Let's talk about Joel Albanez, who
Okay.
you are as a
Yeah.
man, as a human being, as the spirit. Can you explain that a little bit? Maybe even
Yeah.
your ethnic origins?
Yeah. Well, I was born in the Philippines, right? Batangas, that's where the butterfly knife originates from. You know what I mean? Luzon, Philippines, yeah. The Malayo people. So I was born and raised there since I was 12, and then moved out to Los Angeles, and had to adapt to the States. You know what I mean? And a lot of my homies were like batos and like LA vibes. So like Philippines, LA, moved out to the Bay, San Jose, California, and always been deep into the arts from my father and my sister and my brother. They're all artists, and always had books, paper, pens, what I mean, paintbrushes, tools that my father laid out for us to just always have. And so that was me at an early age, right? And he was a creator too, from the Philippines. He actually manufactured jeepneys, like passenger jeeps in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up like in that environment of sheet metal, welding, and cars. You know what I mean? So my dad, he was a big influence on our artist self, you know what I mean? That part of us at a young age. And so the migration as well, from the Philippines to the States, LA to the Bay, got deep into hip hop, you know what I mean? B-boying, graph, and just the music and just self-expression. And I took that road, you know what I'm saying? It kind of just made sense, for us being young and finding our way and having these tools. So hip hop was definitely like the first hat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The gear and whatnot. So that was the early parts, from the islands to the mainland, and just adapting and shifting, you know what I mean, to like from where we're from, like in the mountains, country and city. And so that's always been part of me too. So like later on in my life, just kind of was seeking that too, kind of returning back to country. So like always was in the city, but my heart was always in the country. So I've always had to kind of find the balance between being in town and then dipping out, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So that spiritual connection with nature is something that is extremely important to you. And how does that influence your art?
Man, I feel like a lot of the things I do come from nature, specifically the study of Tao, like Taoism, wisdom from water, wisdom from the trees, wisdom from the lights and how things shift and change and evolve and there's just so much, there's just so much if you really have eyes to see like the miracles that nature, gifts you with, and visually, like internally. So drawing from that is definitely the source.
Well, yeah, I do agree with you. And I think that, with technology and social media, with, the city life and all that, sometimes it's hard to remember or recognize that as humans, we are nature.
True that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like sometimes reconnecting with the trees, with the ocean, with the mountains, with the aina, having your feet in the dirt, and how important that is to receive that electric energy that comes from the source, which, some would say it's God, but we talk a lot about masculinity and men and what it means to be a man on this podcast now.
Okay.
But in talking to you the other day, I felt like, what about the balance, the feminine energy, Mother Nature, right?
Right.
And the importance to have that balance in your life, in your craft, in your art, and that reverence and respect for the feminine energy.
That's right.
The energy that birthed us.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I refer to that as, I always like refer to the channel 9, like 9, divine feminine, you know what I mean? The female, the mother that births us, every soul, 9 months, you know what I mean? The creation, the ultimate creator that brought us here in the flesh. So like the reverence for that term, it goes deep, you know what I mean? So like, it's in there, man. Like, you know, the maternal side of being a creator, manifesting, right? Manifesting, like giving birth to something, like being in labor, you know, being in the labor of creating something, incubating, suffering, you know, panting, heating, quaking. You know, there's that part of the labor of like, it's painful. You got to go within. And I think these last 8-9 years has been kind of that for me.
Okay.
Kind of going back to the womb, going back to that dark room.
Okay, hold up. Like you just said, 9, right?
Yes,
9. So it's been about 9 years that you've been in hiatus and going intro, right? Are you being birthed into the next chapter right now? Or is this a part of it?
As much as I've been, let's say, hiatus, I've been definitely still very active. Like, I haven't stopped. You know what I mean? Whether it's tattooing, writing, music, linking up with my brothers, like it hasn't stopped. It's just maybe on social media, I just had to take a pause on like what I was broadcasting, just because I was really trying to harness all the energy that was sacred to me, and I was really just trying to find the middle path of sharing and keeping, like what to keep for ourselves as sacred, that means so much, that holds that mana and that energy intact. And then also feeling like, yo, who am I sharing with, right? So I'm in that. I was in that phase of just kind of discovering like what it meant to me.
Okay.
And sometimes I don't like to move uncertain, so I have to really be sure when I'm sharing something that it's time. So I had to respect that time of just incubation, of just going internal and really living the journey for me, and really embodying the journey for me. And that meant a lot to me. And it's something that I vowed to myself, that's how I'm gonna approach this time, you know, of growth, of evolution, of just kind of like doing so much for the public, doing so much for the people through tattooing, taking care of folks. This was my time to really like, all right, pour back into self.
Damn, I love that you say that, because I'm on a similar journey. I am sharing a lot with the public, but the intention behind it is not only to discover myself, but to impact lives and inspire people in the right way. There's something that's telling me deep down in my soul that that's the right move right now. But this season that I'm in has been a season where I've been giving back to myself.
True.
And in that way, it comes out through media.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
For my journey.
Yes, I.
Right?
Yes, I.
And the fact that you just told me what you told me, and you're here right now with me, says a lot about where you're at. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's an honor to be able to share this space with you. I do want to kind of go back to hip hop, because you and I, that's common ground for us.
Straight up.
Hip hop has been a big, has formulated my energy. You know what I'm saying? From like the lyricism, the swag, the sauce that comes with being a hip hop artist,
Right.
Or just even a fan of the game, right? The way we dress, the way we talk, you know what I mean? The way that we approach with our presence is hip hop, and it's just, there's no denying it. It just is what it is.
Right.
So I want to talk a little bit about dance, and like
Okay.
I've seen you dance, and I'm not a dancer. Okay, let's put it this way: I love to dance, but it doesn't look like how you dance. It's my own little thing, but I've never really put a lot of effort into developing my moves and things like that intentionally.
Right.
I love to watch you flow, and we're gonna show a little bit of that too, because I think it's important to have a visual so that people can understand where I'm coming from. Talk to me about what dance does for you.
Okay, that's the origins right there. Dance, movement, flow. You know how, as men, we're up here a lot, mental, but the opportunity to dance is like to break free, to be in the body and to actually like free yourself. You know what I mean? Freeing up the energy that's inside us, right? And like whether you're just grooving or busting moves, you know, you could take it to any level really, but really just when you see anybody dance, it's like that dude's free. Because you never see anybody dancing in their mind, you know what I mean? Because when you're up here, you're kind of just in there. But when you see me flow, when I'm in my body and I'm getting free, that's when I take flight. You know what I mean? Whether it's simple moves or some acrobatics, you know, this is b-boying for me because b-boying is a warrior dance. You know what I mean? And so with my arts, with tattooing and the motion and the flow of things, that's where the art comes from. Is that free flow. Let me free myself so I can, you know, capture something. You know what I mean? And to be able to just liberate myself from the time. You know, at any time really. So when you see me dance, it's my time getting me, and that's really what it is. Just taking flight. It's practice. Nowadays, for me, it's like Tai Chi, moving the energy. You know what I mean? Just with what I do, you know, it's I take on and give a lot. So there has to be a transfer of energy. Touching the ground is holy. Being on the ground, you know what I mean? Like touching the ground for me is just like, you know, a great way to release. Anytime I touch the ground, I'm on the earth, I feel grounded. I feel like, yeah.
It's crazy how you connect the dots in life. There's some people that, you know, seek meaning and all that. I feel like you read the signs very well. You know, you don't ignore what's blatantly in front of your face. You connect the dots. I see this nature thing. You just connected dance with nature, putting your feet on the ground, moving the energy, right? There's another aspect of you, and we could actually even run through the elements when it comes to Joel, right? But like MCing, hip hop. You are one of the most metaphysical lyricists that I know, and it almost seems like when you're flowing, you slip into a zone. I know you do. Because I, as a rapper, as a freestyle, as a lyricist, I also slip into a zone, and they're very different zones. But it's all in the same, you know, frequency. But you're in a different part of it, and like what you're channeling is extremely insightful. And what some people would say is woke. But you know that's how some people would describe it.
Hey, with saying that, I mean, back in the day, being awake was real. Like if you weren't awake, you were sleeping on life, and being awake was our way of being present. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't awake to your life, you know what I'm saying? You're pretty much.
It's crazy how nowadays being woke is almost looked at as like a bad thing. You know, like, oh, you're trying to be conscious. And what? Why is that a bad thing?
I think it's exactly what it is, man. Anything positive that we've always gravitated towards, whether it's dance, whether it's being awake, they've somehow figured out how to like mess it up. You know, maybe even demonize these things. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just being true to being who you are and what you've been seeking, because it's the same things that we're after. You know, it's being conscious, being present, being aware, just know what's going on in the world and within yourself, within your circle. To me, that's beautiful. That's being a man. That's being here and now and being able to learn how to navigate through these forces, you know what I mean, that are constantly maybe even attacking us, you know what I mean? So every day's a battle out here. So being awake to your life and being present, like that's navigation.
Okay, so that perspective translates to your lyricism. That's what I noticed.
Definitely, yeah. Everything I write about is really just survival and or just, you know, abstract. It could be fun, different topics, different variations of you know, seasons in my life that needs to be crystallized, you know, maybe into a song or a poem or something that I can memorize, maybe like a mantra. You know, it's something I can live by, that I could pull out like, it's been ages scribing on these pages, catch the data to free us from these cages, motivate us to reach even deeper. Truth story seekers, sifus and senseis, blasting through the speakers, share this knowledge through this pen play. Yeah, just to be able to pull the swords out, you know, cause we need it, bro. You know, there's a lot of people out in life is just kind of like you know, NPC vibe, like, you know what I mean? Like non-player characters, but people with soul. Anybody that I've looked up to always had songs. They always had a mantra. They always had a gem for me.
Okay.
You know, and those gems, those are the gems that we put on the crown. You know, this is how we hold up ourselves high in this world and just like be able to be present, be able to be regal, be able to be kingly in our demeanor. And those gems are our songs, our words, our mantras, words we live by. And so for me, so vital, brother. Okay. You know what I mean? Just to always have them right here. You know, like
I don't know how you do that, bro. Because like as a lyricist, like I remember one or two verses, and I've written hundreds.
I feel it.
You know
I
what I'm saying?
I feel it.
It's crazy. So you know, we touched up on the dance. We talked about the lyricism. What about the writing?
Oh, the writing is everything for me these days. I'm writing in my car. I'm writing when I wake. I'm writing when I'm, you know what I mean, I'm on my journeys. Every session I have, maybe even with you, I'd probably be writing some things down just to like extract the gems, you know, the important parts, because every meeting has some type of value, right? And so when I'm with people, what did I get from that? That lesson that I had today, what did I learn from that? Or like, what am I really, you know, intention work? Even that, you know, before I start my day, I already know I'm gonna be facing a lot of challenges, you know, that's daily. But having an intention of like, yo, this is how I'm rocking today. This is how I'm walking today. This is what it is gonna be about. I'm gonna set my eyes, my gaze upon this intention. And this is how I'm gonna ride through my day. And that for me, writing, scribing, you know, scribing it out is like, it becomes solid. And my writing has become like the way I live, man. This is it.
Okay,
the foundation of the
documentation. Word. And do you revisit your writings?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Sometimes it's, you know, a lot to go through. But I also tear them out and put them in a folder, you know, somehow organize it some way. Sometimes it's just like, I realize that going back to my old pages, I'm actually writing the same stuff over and over and over again. And so I realize it's not even about, you know, coming up with something new. Sometimes it's just refining the old gems, you know, polishing the stones, you know what I mean? Like polishing it enough, it becomes something valuable. So, you know what I mean? There's that, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, man.
Yeah.
That's some great insight. I do a lot of journaling as well. You know, my home is filled with little books and journals and with stickers all over them. And like when I do revisit them, something that I realize is that no matter what book I open, whenever I feel compelled to open it, I get the message that I needed.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like that divine timing, right? And alignment. I did want to talk about your art as well. Yeah. So we talked about writing, lyrics, journaling, memoir, right? But let's talk about the actual art, the visual art.
Okay.
Man, what that is to you, brother, and hip hop, how that influenced it.
Oh man, it's so vast. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's beyond me. The art is just being a vehicle, a transmitter, a conduit. So mostly it's just kind of preparing myself to do art. Preparing a space, having a studio, investing in a space wherever that might be. Space is crucial to be doing art. So there's many different spaces. A place to tattoo, boom. A place to dance, maybe a place to do some carving, maybe a place to record some music and do some visuals. So the arts is vast, and it's I would liken it to like a wheel. You know what I mean? It's like there's many spokes in a wheel. And this wheel we keep turning, you know? This is our life wheel, you know, the sacred wheel of life, kind of like this, you feel me? You know, the spirals, we keep it spinning. And projects will keep you accountable. You know what I mean? Like if you set out to like, yo, I want to make this piece. So it's a lot of sacrificing time. It's a lot about, you know, being disciplined. It's like the opposite, actually, of just like, yeah, I'm just going to do whatever. There's room for that. But at this level of creating, showing up for people with tattooing, like I'm doing soul surgery. Like I gotta show up like a doctor every day. It's a different type of discipline. People don't know that part because, 80% of what I do is like, self-care. Being able to just show up and with your well-being, in a healthy way, in a strong way to be able to do this kind of work, especially tattooing,